Hello, ladies and gentlefolk. Welcome back to Monoplace. So, I just wanted to get into this real quick, fast, and in a hurry. Look, I somehow overwrote the audio for this year recording, so it just doesn't exist anymore. Alright, so you're gonna have to deal with some post-game commentary. It might not be as engaging. I understand that. Please bear with me. I'm getting a hang here, as you can tell, of the actual boss's movements, but I already have a decent grasp, right? I know what certain moves are about to be telegraphed with certain actions. And right now, I've tested out, in my mind, the Lion's Claw on the Great Stars. The reason for this is, I feel as though, from the many fights that I've had with this boss up until this point, I feel as though I cannot capitalize on a lot of his openings. My range is not, it's just barely out of range to be able to like make use of an opening. Or I feel as though I can't really charge up attacks, right? And I'm trying to go for like almost like a poise break kind of build here, right? So I can't really charge up any attacks. And obviously my range is too short. So I decide, okay, Lion's Claw should be able to alleviate some of those problems, right? Lion's Claw has decent posture damage, as well as the fact that it has slightly more reach because you lean forward when you do that front flip, right? So I decided to try out the Lion's Claw on the Great Stars. I think it's still on the heavy setting for the weapon. The heavy affinity, my bad. So it's still the same, it's just now I've got the Lion's Claw on it. And this attack is the one that I normally use as an opening for charge attacks. But it's not exactly reliable to hit after he does that flip of his. So a lot of the times I get really frustrated when I miss that attack, because it's something like timing and trying to predict when he will next, where he will land essentially. So yeah, I decided to go for lights instead of a charged heavy, because I'm like, you know, those will be able to hit more consistently, and if they don't, I'm not as like pressed. Because like a charge attack has a lot of fanfare. So I go for the Lion's Claw after the grab there, because I know now how to avoid the grab. You guys won't see that, like a lot of the failed attempts of me trying to figure out exactly how to avoid that there grab, because that one also kind of pissed me off. I feel like that grab is kind of unfair in terms of when it will hit and when it won't. There's certain instances where you are just nowhere near this guy's mouth, which I believe should be where the hit for the grab should count the most, right? If I'm not by his mouth and he hits me with his torso, I shouldn't then teleport into his mouth. So yeah, the lightning phase, I don't like, by the way. Lightning phase, trash, bad. Don't like lightning phase, second worst phase of this boss. First is still the ice phase, purely because I don't know how to avoid anything in the ice phase. But the lightning phase, it really does just, it gets my gears grinding. So yeah, you see I'm taking a little bit more risky dodges here. I'm standing like really close on top of this dude. And I get a little bit of a panic roll going. Not really, because I do have a decent grasp as to, I don't know why I thought that would hit. I do have a decent grasp as to like what the timing is on certain hits, right? So there is a lot of those rolls that is with intention of rather just I want to get away from the dude. I'm not trying to, I don't know. Oh, I like that stance break. I like that stance break. Oh, that was a bad move. I shouldn't have hit the Lion's Claw there. I probably should have just hit him with a light. So yeah, we're in the lightning phase now. Those lightning bolts that he tosses at you that then cause the curtain of lightning to fall. I use the Lion's Claw to try and evade the lightning bolts there, by the way. Big plays. But that lightning bolt he throws, that like leaves that curtain of lightning that kind of comes raining down. Those are like the bane of my existence in this phase. Well, this phase is partly the bane of my existence, but those in particular, because the lightning bolt itself is really fast, and it really does depend if you're gonna throw one lightning bolt or throw two. So sometimes you think you're safe, you go for a little heal, and then bang, hits you with the second one. And the radius on the lightning bolts themselves, like, they have a little bit of like an explosion kind of radius to them. So like when the lightning strikes, even if you're like, if you're like 2 centimeters away from the lightning bolt itself, you're still gonna get hit because it has like an explosion to it, which took me a while to realize that that was the case, causing me to kind of take a lot of hits that I didn't need to. So I decided to use this chance to rather heal and then do Lion's Claw, which was a very bad move. I should have just healed and then left, because obviously I left myself open for a bunch of attacks thereafter. Now in the win phase, easiest phase of the fight, I'm not too pressed about this phase. I do get nicked sometimes by his like these kinds of attacks, for example, but this is my by far the preferred phase of his fight. A lot of his attacks don't have the follow-ups they do in other phases, so there's a lot more openings that you could try to capitalize on. I didn't because I'm stupid and I die. At this point, I'm a little bit frustrated, so I'm like, you know what? I need to prove something. I take off all my clothes, basically. I keep my shoes on because, you know, I don't want to be completely naked, but full on, I'm going in there, and I'm like, yeah, let's go. I can't exactly tell what the exact game plan was, despite being like, yeah, no, I'm cool. I can take off my clothes. I don't need my clothing for this guy. Nor do I really know if taking off my clothes even proves anything, right? Oh yeah, so I put the Flaming Strike back on because maybe it's my own experience, but I feel as though Lion's Claw is more powerful than Flaming Strike, right? Flaming Strike is a powerful Ash of War, don't get me wrong. It's still got decent posture damage to it. And it's just a good ability to have all around. But I feel as though Lion's Claw, at least against bosses, is still more powerful. So I decided, you know what, I don't want to rely on the Lion's Claw for this particular fight. And I don't use Flaming Strike for anything else other than a little bit more reach with the initial part of the Ash of War, with the Wall of Fire, and to buff my Great Stars, right? So I'll rather just use it to buff my Great Stars, and any other chance that I do get to hit him with the initial part of the Ash of War, I will. But yeah, so I decided to switch back to this bad boy. And we're now in the lightning phase. I get hit by that breath attack like a complete idiot. I don't know if it's this fight, but you'll probably see me get hit by one of the lightning bolts purely off of the radius of the explosion, not actually getting struck by the lightning bolt. And he's spamming this breath attack. I was so upset with this guy. I was like, why are you doing this, man? You're just like trying to make me waste my flasks, I can tell. I thought I could get in there before he finished the attack so that I could charge up a heavy. It didn't occur. At this point, I think I'm chasing the posture break because I've been hitting him, but I die, I guess. But I've been hitting him up until that point. So I thought that if I could just get a few more in, I would be able to just break his posture and then get a cheap hit in, then heal. Didn't work out the way I thought it would. Next round of the naked battle. I decided to do this for some reason. I don't know, I thought maybe I was cool or something. It didn't amount to much, but yeah, I guess I just wanted to let him know that I'm playing games now. He's not a threat to me. You can see that a lot of my confidence is now starting to show. There's a lot of instances where I will take a risky hit because I'm under the impression at this point in time that I know what he will likely do next, so I'm not too concerned. I don't know how I avoided that missed attack there. And then I get my posture break. I go in for the hit. I think I'm chasing a bleed proc, not actually posture breaks. I go for a little bit of the Ash of War just to reapply the buff. I think I just got the bleed proc there. And we enter the next phase. Yeah, you can see now that I'm a lot more aggressive here, right? Like you can see that I'm not too concerned about the lightning or anything. I'm just trying to beat on this guy. I go for a charge attack, I get it in, lucky me, I get a light in, and then I get hit by the tail swipe. Okay, no, it's not this part. But sometimes he throws 2 lightning bolts in rapid succession. Didn't happen there, but whatever. I think at this point now I'm like, okay, he should be close to a posture break. I just need to get a few hits in. And then I do get that last jump attack in, breaking his posture. He should be entering in the next part. Oh, I got another bleed proc as well. Lucky me, lucky me. Now the ice phase, I can't deal with the ice phase. I have no options here, bro. I don't know when or what the timing is to dodge this ice that erupts from the ground. I just don't know the timing. As well as this breath attack, I feel as though the range is different. Maybe even the speed, because I can't seem to avoid that breath attack like the same way I can with other phases. But I could also just be panicking, right? Like all of these things are very well on the table. But you will see me get hit by it again right here. You see that? I just can't seem to get the flow of it. I don't know why. But we entered the wind phase, so now I'm like kind of sighing. I'm like, man, okay, this should be way easier to deal with. Get hit by that because I'm stupid. And I avoid this by just the skin of my teeth somehow. He hits me with a tornado. I just walk around it. I'm not too pressed about that. Easy to avoid attack. I get grazed by that attack. Believe me, this is the phase I prefer the most. I don't know why I'm getting hit by all these like attacks like a complete idiot, but I am for some reason. And now at this point I think in my mind that it's like, nah, the posture is, there's no way I'm going to be breaking his posture at this point, so whatever. I should just be more concerned with maybe trying to get a bleed in or something to that effect, but I should just be a little bit more cautious while I'm here in the lightning phase, because it's purely RNG, at least from what I can tell, if I will get hit by a lightning bolt or not. Boom, you see that? I get hit by that lightning bolt. I don't think I was touched by any lightning bolt, but I got hit by one. And then I get hit by another lightning bolt. So now I'm just really upset. I'm out of healings, so I'm like, okay, guess I'm going in. It's all or nothing. I go for a charge, I break his posture. I go in for that critical hit. I get a juicy hit in. I think I followed up. Yeah, I do. And again, it's the wind phase, so I'm just not pressed at all. Is he trying to hit me with another one of those tornadoes? I just walk around it. Well, I kind of ran around that one, but still. I managed to avoid most of these attacks because normally I can. And now I'm just trying to look for that last posture break, you know? At that point, this fight is over. But then he enters the ice phase. And now, ladies and gentlefolk, it's over. It's done. The stomp, I just can't avoid that stomp. I don't know where the ice will trail out from that initial stomp, so I just die. So yeah, going back in, we are now like, okay, bro, look, last time we almost got you down to basically 3 hits from death, right? I was 1 hit from death, but he was 3, so that's like really good. We need to get that or better, and we are not doing that or better already. This is just terrible. I missed the second hit of the fight. But yeah, so I go in for a couple of heavy attacks there. None of them really charged. Just hitting him with 2 of them. This attack I'm normally weary of. The headbutt into the ground. Because sometimes he does a thing where he rips his head out of the ground. And that's also like a hit. So I'm not always in a hurry to kind of try and capitalize on that one. So I buff up my great stars. And then I hit him with a light, I think. And then I break his posture. Now, I rolled there because I thought he was doing something. But he wasn't. It was just posture break. I hit him with a heavy after that. And now, from here on, I'm just trying to wait. See what he's going to do next. Realizing that he's just kind of standing there, I go and grab my runes for some reason. I don't know why I did that. Like, there's no runes there. I think I just grabbed it because I was like, you know what? Might as well. I go for a heavy. And I charge the second one, I believe. Easy to avoid this. And I get the bleed proc. So he enters into the lightning phase. We're doing pretty good at this point. I don't think he's hit us once yet. But in the lightning phase, it's just RNG if you're going to get hit. Like that. I think I got hit by the lightning and his breath. So normally, if he throws the lightning bolts at you, if you're closer, there's a higher chance that it will just straight up miss you. That's why I was trying to stand on top of him. Unfortunately, the second one came reeling in and then I couldn't do much about that one. So yeah, now I'm gonna go and get my second... Never mind, I die. I was going to say I'm gonna get my second heal in and then kind of go back in. That's not what happened. I must have been forgetting what actually happens. But yeah, that fight was a pretty decent showcase. Like, he barely hit me and I managed to get him to a decent chunk of his HP down. So, like, I think that's at least enough of a showcase that I'm getting used to the boss, right? Like, I know what's going on. And you will even see, like, at certain points in these fights, I will switch from locking on to locking off, because there's a lot of parts in this fight where, honestly, you just can't see what the boss is doing. And that almost leads to your death 80% of the time, because you just don't know what he's doing next. Because a lot of his attacks have, like, very strange telegraphs to them. Like this one. This is an easy one to read, but you don't know where he will really land. Sometimes he just changes where he will land mid-fall. So yeah, we heal up. We're just trying to wait to see what he's going to do. I think particularly in these moments is where I lock off, because it's just easier to avoid his attacks. Especially those that kind of try and get really close to you. It's easy to avoid them if you're just locked off. Going for that nasty critical hit. I think I'm going for a cheap hit. Yes, I do. He goes in for the grab. That was a bad move. I buff up my great stars. I think I'll lock off again. No, not this time, because again, if he's too close to me, a lot of the times I will lock off. I lock off there and then I lock back on so I can get him with more reliably with the charge attacks. I get the bleed proc. We go into the next phase. Again, you see, I only suffered one hit before we got into this phase. I go in for a jumping heavy. Avoid that lightning bolt. Avoid that lightning bolt. And start wailing in on him. Lucky me, I get a posture break. I go in for that critical hit. Phase through the ground a little bit, but that's okay. And I get another cheap hit in afterwards. I dodge this lightning bolt. I roll out of the way just in case he throws another one. He didn't throw another one. Lucky me. I avoid this. I avoid this. I avoid. I get hit with the lightning bolt because I'm stupid. I buff up my great stars one more time, and I wait for him to change phase so I can heal. We're in the wind phase. Easy game, ladies and gentlefolk. We just avoid that somehow. And we hit him with a nice little cheap hit. He's trying to hit us with this lame tornado attack. We just avoid it as always. He does the tail swipe. We go in for another cheap hit. This is why I like the wind phase. There's no follow-up for this. So I just can go in for another attack. And then I just buff up my great stars another time. Like, the wind phase is so nice. A lot of his attacks just don't have follow-ups. That's so great. That's brilliant, in fact. So now we're in the ice phase. I'm sick of this phase, bro. I'm like, you know what? I don't care if I get hit by attacks. I'm just going to keep beating on him. We go for another critical hit. Wablam. And then we go for a cheap hit immediately thereafter. Buffing up our great stars once more. We kind of jump over the first attack. We try and watch for the next one. We jump over that one. We roll to the side. And we go in for another heavy. Nope, that was a light. I somehow avoid this stomp. And I'm just giggling. I'm like, okay bro, you're in a whole lot of trouble. He goes into the lightning phase. Big mistake. I can deal with the lightning phase way better than I can with the ice phase. And we get another posture break. We hit him. And we hit him again. And it's over. I hit the pose. Ooh. And I'm happy with myself, ladies and gentlefolk, because I'm like, hey, he thought he was cool. I think I got hit twice in that entire fight. I locked the heck in. And I really wish that I had the live commentary, bro. Because in the live commentary, I was so ecstatic. Because again, I've been fighting this guy for like 3 or 2 days. Just between that gap, right? It could be 2+, essentially. And I've been fighting the camera, not this guy. I like this guy. The Divine Beast, like, he's such a cool boss. Like, I really like that fight. Like, even the whole idea that, like, his moveset doesn't actually change that much. It's just that, like, there's some alterations that come in with each phase. That was so cool, bro. But, like, the camera, when fighting really big enemies, or enemies who are, like, taller than you and up close, I just don't like the camera, bro. Especially when you lock on. But, yeah, I'm just giving the Divine Beast head a good look. Because I'm like, I remember that I made a promise to that old lady that I'll wear the headpiece when I next see her. I knew that the Divine Beast drops the headpiece because I caught a glimpse of a streamer who was playing the game, and they just beat the Divine Beast, and it dropped the headpiece, right? So I was like, I knew that this would happen. Now, complaints that I have for the headpiece, it's too big. But when I'm saying it's too big, what I mean is my character model is clipping, like my weapon is clipping through it. Like when I hit certain poses, I'm clipping straight through the helmet. Like, change this, at least allow me to change the size to be slightly smaller. Not even that small, just a little smaller, right? Because I like the fact that it's comically large. It's funny. But, you know, it's like, it's a bit too large, in fact. Is that what she said? Oh, whoa. But anyway, yeah, so I'm gonna go and meet this old lady, let her know I mean business. I don't know why I go back to the site of grace. Maybe I wanted to check something. Oh yeah, I wanted to level up. Put that stats in vigor because I realize how important that is now, especially in this particular DLC. I will go, I'm not gonna go like on the look for the Erdtree fragments, but if I find them, I'm not opposed to using them, right? I don't really mind too much. Yeah, so I'm just like rearranging my talismans here. But yeah, onto the headpiece, right? I don't know why in this particular instance they decided to make the headpiece like comically large. Because when you're fighting Godric and you get his dragon as a weapon, his dragon fist thing, it becomes like this really tiny lizard head that fits on your hand. I don't know why all of a sudden now they decide to make the headpiece like the correct size, I guess, or anatomically correct to what we see. But when Godric's dragon comes into play, it's like, nah, it's just a tiny little dragon head instead of the massive dragon that he had. I don't know why they did that this time. I guess because this is more like cosmetic as opposed to Godric's like hand that's a weapon. So yeah, I'm talking to this lady and she seems to be very happy that I've got this lion head. And I'm kind of upset. I wanted to like mess up her day, bro. I wanted her to be like, oh no, you killed my little divine beast, man. I'm so sad. But she's not. She's happy. And now I feel worse because she's all like, oh man, you are homie. And I'm an imposter, man. Like, I feel now like it would have been better if I just made her feel bad. Now I'm going to like have to like live up to the idea that I'm like one of her allies and eventually I might even betray her. And then what am I going to do with myself? I didn't want to like actually like break her spirit like in that sense. Anyway, yes, she gives me an incantation. I do make use of it a couple of times. I'm not a big fan. I feel like the little raids don't come out as frequently as I would want them to. And they're tracking, I don't know what they track. I assumed they would track an enemy that I'm locked onto. They don't. They just kind of randomly go out and like beat up whoever they want to. And sometimes they don't even beat up anybody. So yeah, we skipped ahead here, right? I'm going into one of these little dungeons. And I noticed a bunch of writing indicating that there would be a hole or something to that effect close by. There weren't any from what I can tell. I don't know what people were talking about. They were saying that there was like a hole or there was like visions of traps, but no trap ahead. So it's like, I didn't know how to interpret that. I was like, okay, so this person obviously means that they expect a trap, but there isn't. So I was like, you know what? You could just be lying to me. Elden Ring players, sometimes they just do that. They just lie. Especially when it comes to like secret passages. They love lying about those. So I was like, oh man, I wonder, am I going to get killed by something? I checked the map just to make sure if I can teleport in and out. I can't. So I'm like, oh man, maybe the grace is the trap. And someone said recklessness and I see the pools of blood. So I'm like, oh man, I'm going to hit this grace and I'm going to immediately die. That doesn't happen. So now I'm like, wait. Okay, maybe there's an enemy just around the corner. This person says, wrath required ahead, be wary of death. And I'm like, whoa. Okay, what does that mean? So I run in. I'm like, okay, someone's gonna try and corner me. There's a lot of pools of blood. Once again, it's either the right or the left. Nothing. Now I'm confused. I'm like, what's going on? I don't get it. Why did everybody die here? What happened? I give this one a good appraisal because it's like, hey man, look, you just said something cool. And that guy pops up. I'm like, oh, is this the reason why people died? Okay, I guess I'll just test out my new Wraith spell. And I go in on him, right? I let one of the Wraiths hit him. They're not doing that much damage, but I guess it's because my faith is pretty low. It's not that high. I think it's like maybe in the 20s. So I hear a couple of voices. I guess it's this dude, and I'm like, okay, cool. I'll kill him. I'll pick up whatever's on this corpse. I see that it's a frozen maggot, and now I'm confused. In the live commentary, I was talking about how I don't understand why there's always maggots in a FromSoft game. Not like every single one of them, from what I can tell, it's not everyone, but there's a very high amount of maggots in these games. Whether the maggots be like maggot-based enemies, or you have maggot items, or anything else like that. And this game is no different. Even the Ghost Flame Dragon has like maggots all over its eyes. It's like, man, they just really like putting maggots in these games. I think even the flies, but I mean the flies, that makes sense, right? That the fly enemies, they would have maggots. Like, they're flies. Where would maggots be if not surrounded by flies, right? It's like smoke and fire. But yeah, like a lot of the ambushes in this like dungeon could have gotten me if they were just like timed better. Because that I don't even know who that guy thought he was attacking, because that was definitely not me. He was way too early. So yeah, I'm looking for the maggots at this point in time, because I'm just like thinking to myself, okay, what actually was the item, right? Like, what does it do? Why is it being given to me? Is it like the jaw innards, I think, where you can eat it, it will poison you, but like you will recover some HP. And I find out, oh no, it's a crafting item. So I'm like, okay, I guess this is going to craft some sort of like, you know, like how the hefty pot in the DLC is like a better version of the fly pot that like sprouts the blood flies that proc bleed if they hit the enemies. So I thought, okay, it's going to be something similar perhaps, you know, like a frostbite, build up flies, or something to that effect. But like, I don't know even right now as I'm recording this. I do not know. Maybe I missed the cookbook for the particular frozen maggot, but yeah. So I'm just kind of running through this little dungeon, trying to figure out exactly what the vibe here is, you know, because this feels to me like I've been in a dungeon like this before. I'm not sure if it was in Elden Ring specifically, but when it comes to dungeons like these, I always get the impression that it's those dungeons that's trying to encourage you to explore different places so you can kind of get these small hits from enemies. These small hits will eventually stack up until you run out of your Estus, or I mean your Crimson Flasks, right? And eventually you'll come and fight a particularly powerful enemy closer to the end of the dungeon, and you won't have enough heals to basically beat them, you know. I remember that from games like Dark Souls in particular, right? That like there's certain areas that it feels like it's designed to kind of force you to use your flasks, so that basically it becomes more difficult. So I thought this is more of a resource management dungeon, and you will start to see that suspicion creep in more and more the more I encounter enemies and the more I explore this here dungeon. So yeah, I get to this room, for example, I'm like, okay, these enemies, they're not doing anything. I'm not even going to fight them, right? Because the suspicion is starting to dawn on me that I'm like, no, I think that I've been here before. I know these kinds of dungeons. I fight you guys, I get surrounded by, or I get hit by an enemy that I didn't notice. So yeah, you see there, I switched to the Great Stars, because with the Great Star, each hit you recover some HP, right? So I'm like, okay, I'm not going to use my flasks as often anymore. I'm going to try and heal purely off of the Great Stars. So I look for enemies that I can easily take care of without being hit. I noticed two dudes across from me, and I'm like, okay, how do I deal with this guy on my right without proccing those guys? Luckily for me, I'm like, nah, those guys aren't doing anything at the moment. So I'll just beat him up first, enter the room here that I'm heading towards, then I'll go and beat those guys up. So, here's a room. I'm like, no, I know I'm going to be surrounded by something or someone. Where is it? Where is it? I noticed the flesh in this little pot, and I'm like, that's definitely an enemy. And lo and behold, it's an enemy. They look kind of like heart-shaped, you know, shaped like a human heart. I get hit by those attacks because I thought I heard his posture break. So I was like, okay, I can just go in for a critical. That didn't happen. So I was very confused. And I decided to go in for a prayerful strike. That was a dumb move. As you can see, I immediately died. Well, Now I understand this guy's attacks. They make me actually think of the, funny enough, maggot enemies that you fight in Dark Souls 3. They could be in other Dark Souls games, but specifically I remember from Dark Souls 3. So yeah, I'm just speeding up the footage here because you've seen the song and dance before, and a lot of it I'll just be running past the enemies. So yeah, just mainly avoiding them and picking up whatever items have respawned. But those heart guys that's like inside the jars, or the, yeah, jar, I guess that's what they're called. They do remind me of the maggot enemies quite a lot in Dark Souls 3. Specifically the big ones who have like the stomach based attack where they can shoot out a like a claw made out of maggots. So yeah, here we get to normal speed. I decide to use the traditional bonker, you know, our faithful, because I can hit him with the lion's claw, which could then slam him to the ground, which opens him up for more attacks. Luckily for me, I managed to kill him pretty quick. Then I switch back to the Great Stars. Nope, I didn't switch back to the Great Stars. I switched back to this, what? Is it the Black Great Hammer? I forget. So yeah, I wondered to myself, do I even need to fight these guys, right? Because clearly this is just like a little platforming segment. I don't know if those guys can throw like rocks at me, but I don't think it really matters too much. I'm trying to be cautious of jumping because there's a lot of instances in Elden Ring, I feel, where dropping down to a ledge below was safer than trying to jump to a ledge. So that's why you won't see me jump as often and simply just drop down. And I think that could have been how some people died, right? They jumped when they didn't really need to, but because it's difficult to tell how far you can fall, that tends to happen. So I'm kind of just beating on this jar boy. These little jars as well, they're looking for trouble. I don't like killing them oftentimes. You know, the little jar guys, they have so much hopes and dreams that their jars can barely contain. You know, their cup has yet to runneth over, metaphorically speaking, and yet here they are. So yeah, I switch back to the Great Stars because again, I'm like, yeah, no. I feel like there's going to be way more enemies ahead. I do a little bit of like hitting of little areas because I'm like, I wonder if there will be any secrets. Don't think there's any secrets, so I keep moving. I heal up because I have the suspicion that a lot of these enemies, in particular these heart-shaped dudes, these jaw-inned people, they are going to show up. And yeah, they do show up. So now I've confirmed my suspicion. The suspicion being that these guys are here to just kind of mess up my progress or just like diminish my HP for a much bigger enemy that will appear later. So yeah, I start to just ignore a lot of these guys. I'm like, you know what? I don't even care. I look at that guy because I'm like, did he just explode and die? These ones don't explode and die, so I'm confused. I guess that other guy just fell off the ledge, right? But I keep moving. Oh no, I fall down. Anyway, I'm walking around here because I'm trying to see if those guys will follow me to this area, to this location. Will they also jump down? It looked to me like they didn't. So I was like, okay, I guess they are stuck up there. I move through this little section now. Be wary of left. So yeah, these kinds of areas, once again, I feel like they are designed to kind of get your HP low, to try and catch you out, get you like backstabbed or snuck up on by a particular kind of enemy. So I'm sort of just walking through it in being weary of what could appear and happen next. But at a certain point I'm like, okay, you know what, I don't care. I'm just gonna run straight through whatever. And yeah, I just make my way through. I see a bunch of jaw people. I'm like, oh, what's going on? Then I see these guys and they're just kind of chilling. I'm like, oh man, really? That's nice. That's cool. You know what, fellas? I want to chill with you guys as well. I wish I had the emote that they are doing right now. They're like playing like Seesaw or something, or they're playing like the plane game. I don't know, they're pretending to be planes. Planes don't exist in Elden Ring, so let's just say the Seesaw game. That's what they're doing. They're like, oh, I'm a Seesaw. So I just kind of sit there and I enjoy. I just watch them. Like, yeah, this is nice. I like these fellas. Even though like they seem to be like imprisoned here or something. This seems to give prison vibes to me, you know? Someone says, didn't expect comfort. I'm like, exactly, bro. And they'd say, don't you dare. And I'm like, yeah, I wouldn't dare. How could you even try and accuse me of such? Now, there's an item there. I don't know if this guy has any chill, because he's just kind of sitting there, right? But these guys are normally more aggro than the little fellas. So I try and get the thing. I'm like, oh, smithing stone 3? That's it? Wow. Like, I got the Jawman mad so I could get smithing stone 3 of all things. That sucks. But yeah, so once again, running through, don't care. I'm trying to look for the ledge that I need to obviously jump off of. I see the pot, I'm like, okay, there it is. That's what I gotta do. So, make my way down. That fella, I think he followed me. I can't tell exactly, but I ignore him. Noticing the fog wall, I'm like, yeah, it's time to fight. So, I'll go in. I think at this point, I'm going to lose this fight because I don't really know what this guy's moveset is. I don't know what this guy does. I don't know if I can stagger him or not. And I also, at this point, want to test out the Great Hammer. And he hits me with that, and it does a chunk of damage. And I'm like, whoa, wait, he can flash step and do that much damage? No way. I wonder if you can get his weapon. I'm not like I'm a faith build with strength, so I probably won't be able to use it, but I could change to like an intelligence strength build. If he hits me with that, and I got so mad, bro. I was like, wait, he can just take advantage of me. Part of the reason why I also wanted to switch to this weapon is because I know he's a demi-human, right? And he doesn't do well against fire damage. I run away because I don't know how far his flash step actually is. So I'm just trying to, you know, take advantage of that. But here's where I start to realize, oh wait, this guy's kind of a chump. He hits me with the grab. I didn't like the disrespect. But I was like, he's kind of a chump. I could just stagger this guy to Kingdom Come. All I need is to basically get a decent hit in, find an opening, and I'll be able to take advantage. So I summon the Wraiths because I'm like, those should be able to stagger him. But as you see there, these Wraiths are not, they're not hitting my target. They like, I noticed this attack. And I was like, man, that's a good thing I died when I did. So I summoned the Wraiths again, and once again, you see these Wraiths are not doing much. They don't assist me at all. But I realized this guy is such a total chump, so I'm like, going in, bro. I'm just going to keep beating on this here fella. I'm just going to keep on beating. I don't know if this is the fight where I test out if I can do the block counter. But yeah, I'm wailing on him. I'm just beating him up. I think it's close where he's going to charge up that same attack. Yeah, here it is. So now I know what it is. Before I wouldn't have known, and that probably would have killed me immediately. But because I died and he did it, he revealed his cards too soon. Now I know exactly what he can do, when and why. And bada bing bada boom, he burns to death. That's simple. And I get his student as a little summon boy. Now, I really think that this guy is cool, and I want a homie like that. So I might actually go and get the Spirit Bell and just exclusively use that little summon guy. I think he's a cool fella. You know, he could be ice, I could be fire, I could be bonk, he could be the smarts. It's just a duo that's made in heaven. So now we are fighting the Ghost Flame Dragon. And once again, I am in anguish at the lock-on and camera. Look at this, bro. I'm just trying to beat this guy up, and I just can't. Because the lock-on and camera of this game is so wonky. As you can see there, there's like, if you can look, there's like little maggots wriggling in his eyes, alright? Like, maggots all over the place. And yeah, he does quite a bit of damage. He does quite a bit of damage. Like, I think his breath attacks, or his Ghost Flame, essentially just kills me every single time. If I even so much as get grazed by them, they kill me, right? But yeah, I cut out most of the fight because I fight this dragon quite often. You can even see that my outfit is different, the weapon I'm using is different. I have Prayerful Strike on the Great Stars because I'm thinking to myself, does holy damage do damage to this guy? Like, does it do additional damage to this fella? And that's what I'm trying to find out at this point. But yeah, so my outfit right now I think is the Grave Bird because I had just found it sometime earlier. Grave Bird armor set. I'm wearing the Exile. No, not Exile. Oh no, the dogs are kind of going crazy outside. I'm wearing the Duelist Greaves, I believe. And then the Divine Beast head. Yeah, I'm complaining at this point in time. I remember this. I'm complaining at this point in time once again about having to fight on Torrent's back. On horseback, essentially. Because these enemies just are not... They're not fun to fight when you're on your own 2 feet, right? And they're not fun to fight when you're using Torrent. But yeah, I'm just gonna let this play out, you know. You guys just enjoy, I suppose. I'm sure at this point you are thinking to yourself, this is the furthest thing from riveting gameplay. And I agree. I agree. This was not fun to do and be a participant in. Like this is boring, bro. This is not a fight, man. This is whack. This is not fun. Yeah, so I get hit there by that one. I couldn't tell exactly where he was. That's obviously the drawback of not being locked on. You don't really know where your enemy is. But at the same time, it's not as though lock-on helps with that too much against enemies such as dragons, for example. It's very difficult to track your enemies when the camera is this insane. So yeah, I'm just running away from most of what I can hear as the fire attacks, because I can't really see them. Because those will knock me off Torrent and likely kill Torrent or me. I think this should be the second last hit, if not the last hit. Yeah, this is the last hit. Nope, it's the second last hit, my bad. I'm stupid. So yeah, I killed the dragon. It wasn't fun, but it is what it is. That being said, I hope you ladies and gentlefolk have enjoyed my time here. Again, I wish I could have just given you the live gameplay. It was actually really fun. But with all that being said, there's been I, Mono, and that has been me playing Elden Bling. I will see you next time. Bye bye.